Слава святей и единосущней, и животворящей, и нераздельней Троице, всегда, ныне и присно, и во веки веков.
My name is Oleg Volkov. I am a pastor of Presbyterian Church Annunciation, Pushkin. I met Blake Purcell 2000. That time I was an elder in our church and was getting ready for pastoral ministry. Although I had some kind of theological education, I understood that I had to study more. My friend told me about a Reformed seminary in St. Petersburg. I met Blake, and after our conversation I became a student of the Reformed seminary. The first thing I understood when I became a student of the seminary was a very serious approach towards education. All students were paid stipends. I had to study very well and pass all very difficult exams. It was very difficult but very blessed time in my life. The second thing I understood was that seminary focuses not only education but on personal life of each student and his character. According to 1 Timothy 3, every student must give report about his personal life with God, his relations with wife and children. The seminary paid special attention to men's leadership in his family and in the church. I was very well educated in theology because we digged into the old scripture. It was time when I understood covenant theology and that our children are partakers of the covenant. So therefore they must be not only baptized but communed. Theological and practical knowledge were very useful and still helps me in my pastoral ministry in church. I thank God for Reverend Blake Purcell, for James Jordan, for all people who support this ministry in Russia.
Hello, my name is Brian Nolder. I am pastor of Christ the Redeemer Church in Pella, Iowa. I'm now devoting some of my time to helping with the ministry of Slavic Reformation Society and CREC Eurasia. If you're curious about the relationship of those two institutions, basically SRS and the Biblical Theological Seminary in St. Petersburg is the training wing, if you will, the pastoral development and ministerial formation side of CREC Eurasia. What we're doing is using SRS to train up men, to raise them up so that they can then go forth and plant a, Lord willing, presbytery of 10 churches throughout the former Soviet Union by the year 2015. And it's important for us to realize that we're not just talking about planting generically Reformed churches, but specifically CREC churches with our commitments and distinctives: covenant renewal worship, paedo communion, an optimistic eschatology, believing that every area of life is to come under the lordship of Jesus, family discipleship, making sure that those in leadership in the church are held to the same standards that the Bible holds up for us in the pastoral epistles and elsewhere. What we need to be doing, we believe, as this is a ministry of Christ and His church that is being used to reach the far reaches of the earth, is that we should be partnering with those so that they can further their ministry. The Apostle Paul says in Philippians chapter 1 that he thanks God for the Philippians for their partnership in the gospel from the first day until then. And that word partnership is the word koinonia, which we often translate as fellowship. But it's rather interesting that it's used in the Gospels to describe Peter and Andrew and James as John's financial and business partnership in their business of fishing there in Galilee. And I believe Paul, though he obviously is thankful for the Philippians participating in the gospel because they believe the gospel, because they share the gospel, because they suffer for the gospel, primarily has this financial meaning in mind, because at the end of the book, when he uses that word partnership again, he writes in 4:15, "You Philippians yourselves know that in the beginning of the gospel, when I left Macedonia, no church entered into partnership with me in giving and receiving except you only. Even in Thessalonica, you sent me help for my needs once and again. Not that I seek the gift, but I seek the fruit that increases to your credit." And so it's very specifically this financial partnership that Paul gives thanks for to God and gives thanks to the Philippians for. And we believe that it's incumbent upon us as those that are prosperous North American churches that are well grounded in the faith to be in partnership with those who are just beginning the adventure of really having their churches live according to the Bible, of really exploring the riches and resources of Reformed theology and the Reformed tradition.
I was asked to say a few words about why I'm involved in the ministry here in Russia and the place that I think it has in our work today, and there are advantages to helping out here in Russia. The Russian mission field in some ways is wide open for Protestantism because the Russians have never been exposed to any kind of Reformation Christianity. The kind of Christianity that's been here is extremely thin and highly corrupted with pagan practices, and is almost completely ineffectual in discipling people. And the people need biblical Protestant Christianity. The advantage our ministry has is that the ministry has been here for 20 years, and the theological seminary training has been in operation for 10 years. So we have a backlog of a great many books that we've translated, a great many classroom lectures that have been recorded, all of which can be made available throughout Russia if we have the funding. We have also gradually made contact with several dozen existing pastors who are pastoring throughout Russia and the parts of the former Soviet Union such as Latvia, Kazakhstan, and related places, the Ukraine. All of those people we can help, all of those people we can get in for 2 weeks at a time and give additional training to. All of those people need guidance in knowing how to be a man in a culture where there are no men, where their fathers were drunks and they don't know how to be men, let alone pastors, and provide masculine leadership in the church. The Russian evangelical churches, such as they are, consist almost entirely of women. Many times women are the pastors. If they're not the pastors, they are completely in charge. And that's what God has put here right now to keep things barely going, but it's not the kind of thing that's going to make for a long-term change in this society. But we are in a position of helping men, providing good examples for them. We have been given several Russian men who've been through our training and who are now pastoring churches who can be examples. And if we can continue to do this, then in this large country, we can begin to have some significant impact here and there. But the fact is, Russia continues to be a powerful military presence and a powerful economic presence in the world because of oil. And for those reasons, it's probably a pretty strategic place for us to put our investment. So I have been privileged to come here for 10 years and teach, and hope to continue to in the future. And I hope that you'll consider our ministry as something that you'll want to provide and help with.
One specific way that we can be partnering with SRS is to see all of the intensive trainings the monies for them raised up ahead of time so that they are reliably there every 6 months that the fall and the spring intensives take place. So our goal is to see $4,000 a month raised up so that these are taken care of and can be there dependably. What would this involve? Well, if 40 churches were willing to increase or to start giving to SRS $100 a month, then we would have all of that money raised. And so it wouldn't just have to be one large church, but all of our churches simply giving a little bit more than we have been, so that again, that would be reliably there. If you are ready in your church to begin this partnership with us or to increase your partnership, you can send your gifts to the Slavic Reformation Society, P.O. Box 794, Louisville, Mississippi 39339. And over the next weeks and months, I hope to be in touch with many of you to share these opportunities with you, to find out what is going on in your churches, and to ask you to continue to be in partnership with this tremendous ministry that the Lord is using throughout the Eurasian continents and countries. Thank you for your time.